I was wearing 50 years ago. Still got the Shirtles label in it. They've been gone for how many years, right?
Well, you know, Bob, a lot of these people here want to ask questions, and several were asking, when's he coming? When's Bob coming? And we have some questions that were given to us that we've been writing down, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind, just a few things before you.
Absolutely.
All right, we've got this young lady, her name is Tina, I don't know where you are, from West Dallas. She said, if the Beatles were such a hot topic, why didn't they stay at the Pfister Hotel rather than the Coach House Motor Inn? Do you know?
That's a good question. In fact, I don't think maybe I've been asked that one time, but that's all. The reason they didn't stay at the Pfister, because the Pfister was a popular hotel. And they didn't want a traffic jam, they didn't want any problems, and anybody getting hurt, so they put them in the Coach House. Who would ever think they'd be at the Coach House? Well, about 300 kids thought they'd be there. So there's some pictures that we have. And by the way, I was going to tell you about these. We have a DVD and a CD. The DVD has a video of them coming in on the plane. It has part of a press conference. It has a lot of the fans, so if some of you were around, you might be on there, I don't know. And it also has a lot of the photos, many of them taken by Bob Lewis. Great photographer. And the CD has the audio diary of the entire 2 days. They do the 4th, left on the 5th. So it's got the entire press conference and reaction from the fans and the screaming at the arena, which was incredible. And we're selling these for charity. And I've got a personal charity, and the reason I don't mention it because we tee off a lot of other charities, but we're selling them for 15 apiece, but tonight we're going to make it 15 for 1 and 20 for 2. So that means only 10 apiece instead of the 15.
And these are real nice. I've got a copy of both of them myself, and if anyone wants something historical from Milwaukee to really absorb and enjoy, you might want to grab these. This is unlike anything you'll see anywhere else, and it's all about our city and what Bob has been able to bring to us. All right, couple more questions now. We got a Michael from New Berlin says, you were at the press conference at the Coach House Motor Inn before the show. Why wasn't John Lennon a part of it?
John Lennon had laryngitis, so that's why he wasn't there. In fact, when I interviewed him and talked to him in their hotel room the next day, he didn't say anything. Not a word.
Okay.
Hello, I guess. That was one.
That makes sense with that twist and shout. That took a lot out of him each time.
He didn't do twist and shout though in Milwaukee. No, he opened with I Saw You Standing There because of his voice. He couldn't do twist and shout.
Okay, we got this one here. I don't know how this got in. It says Butch from Beloit. He's by the bar. He says, they called you the 5th Beatle here in Milwaukee. How did you feel when Ringo replaced you on the drums?
Actually, the 5th Beatle was Stu Sutcliffe, and the 6th Beatle was Pete Best. I didn't fit in there at all. But the kids gave me that name. They called me the 5th Beatle, but they gave me the name of Beatle Bob more than they did the 5th Beatle.
That's right. Well, on a more serious note, Bob, Diane from Canoe, she said, was their manager Brian Epstein with the Beatles, and did you get a chance to meet him?
He was not with them. He didn't travel to all of the cities, and he did make the big ones, you know, New York and San Francisco and LA and places like that, but he did not come to the smaller cities. So there was a road manager.
Derek Taylor was there.
That's right.
Derek Taylor. I think we have one more here. Susie from Greenfield, she says, oh, did you get their autographs and were they signing for the fans?
Yes, I got their autographs and we gave them away on the air. So I didn't even keep one for myself.
We got another, wait, a couple more, hold on. There's this older guy in the back. He's
wait a minute, watch it.
Older, I shouldn't say that. He didn't want to give me his name, but he's Eddie Doucette. And he wants me to say, does anybody know Eddie Doucette? Remember? Tango. Well, anyway, he wants me to ask you this. He says, after you turned down being the MC for the Beatles here in Milwaukee on September 4th, and they asked me to MC it, why did you change your mind and do the show so all that I'd be known for is doing the play-by-play for the Milwaukee Bucks?
Okay. All right, Eddie, you know the story. I got a call from the manager, the promoter of the Midwest Beatle Tour, and he asked me to MC the show, and I said, what does it pay? And he said, we're not paying any of the MCs anywhere in the tour around the country. And I said, well, I think I'll take a pass then. I was making about 125 a week, and I was hoping to pick up a few bucks, and they weren't paying anything, so I said, maybe not. And the Beatles they had done the Ed Sullivan Show already, but still, they weren't huge in the United States. So then the music director was standing right next to me, and she said, what was that all about? And I said, well, and I explained it to her, and she says, you idiot. Call him back and tell him you'll do it. Look at this. And she opened the Cashbox, Billboard magazine, all the publications, all the trade magazines. And she said, look at how huge they are in Europe, and they're going to be big here too. So I called the guy back, and he said, okay. He said, I tell you what, I already called Eddie Doucette over at WRIT, but let me call him and tell him that he'll introduce the warm-up acts, Jackie DeShannon, Bill Black's Combo, the Exciters, and Clarence Frogman Henry. And then he'll introduce you. I said, whoa, he's going to be excited about that. So that's what happened. He was gracious enough to introduce me, and he was a fantastic competitor. He used to talk about me on the air all the time over at RIT, which I thought was great. And we just had a reunion 2 years ago. He was inducted into the Wisconsin Broadcasters Hall of Fame. So we had a reunion, and it was great. So we're friends.
That's good to know. Before we close with one last question, I want to ask, and I met two of you out there, two of you that were at the arena on September 4th. And there she is.
All right.
Who else was at the arena on September 4th, 1964 to see the Beatles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, holy cow.
Great.
That's 4 people were there. Good. 5. The last question's from me. And I kind of touched upon it out there, and I think this shares the sentiment from a lot of you out there. This was 50 years ago, and a lot of us who are still around remember what we were doing when they came here in Milwaukee and when we saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show. Do you ever get tired of telling this story over and over?
Paul, I don't get tired of telling it over and over, but I think the audience probably gets tired of hearing it over and over. Although you said that there are a couple of things that you saw in the paper that you didn't know about, so that's great. And no, I never tired of it. I mean, how can you get tired of telling stories like that? You know, it was a tremendous experience and fantastic for my career. Of course, I wouldn't be up here tonight if it didn't happen. So.
And you know what? You know what, Bob? Excuse me. It's not only for us. Look at the kids. Look at our kids.
Yeah.
Look at the kids. And I'm saying our kids in their 30s, and then the ones in their 20s, and the yellow submarine baby boom, the little babies, not the boomers, the babies. So, again, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all of you for coming all the way down to Serb Hall and being a part of our event tonight. And take advantage of what Bob has to share with you. These treasures you won't see again. They're well put together. I've seen them. They're really worth you picking up. So,
I'll be out in the hallway, and we also have some photos that were taken. I have a photo that was taken of the 5 of us at the Coach House Inn on the 7th floor there of the Coach House Inn. Going to be on channel 58 tomorrow morning at 7. We're doing a half-hour show, and also they're going to follow me when it gets to be close to September 4th. We're going to go to the airport and show you exactly where they landed and go through the entire 2 days. So that, I think, is going to be a lot of fun too. That's sure on Channel 58. I'd like to thank all of you for being such a great audience. And Paul, thank you. And the Doo-Wop Daddies, man, they're one of my favorite groups. They are very tremendous. And I'm looking forward to the Liverpool 64. We'll be back in just a second to introduce them. Thank you.
And you're here till about how long tonight?
Another hour.
Another hour, so come on out and say hello, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick Shabowski.